birthday boys.
Yeah.
BC the Boulevard Guard.
These back bitches.
Lions Den, Birth Records collabo.
One and only.
We getting it in. 7-15-4. I got the visuals, measure cats with my eyes cause my brain is digital. Put them on a scale, genitals don't make you a male. Return address on your ass so they know where to send you to.
Okay, we have Jason Davis, author of Hard Change, with us today. So let's get right into it. Mr. Davis, how did you come into writing? What inspired you to become an author, or more specifically, urban fiction?
Well, really, the whole thing started as a hustle. You know what I'm saying? I started writing right before I got locked up. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere maybe like a couple weeks before I got locked up, and afterwards, I really saw that the whole urban fiction thing was going to blow up. You know what I'm saying? At the time, it really wasn't as big as it is today. But, you know, I had foreseen the future. I knew it was going to be something big, so it was just a hustle. It wasn't as if I really enjoyed the art of writing at the time, but I was just writing to try to make some money. I wanted something that I could use to get on my feet once I got out of prison. You know what I'm saying? But after I started writing, and probably after maybe I finished that second book, because I wrote books before I wrote Hard Change. I wrote 2 books before I wrote Hard Change, but they'll never see the day of light. But that's when I really started to get a love for the art of writing and started to take it serious.
Fired up, got the smoke detector, duct tape tied up, so no luck you won't wait. Eyes shut till you burn this whack late. Many life lessons.
I've always been a creative person. When I was younger, you know, I started rapping when I was like 6 or 7 years old, you know, so I gained an affinity for manipulating words. I was always good with manipulating words. The whole thing was informal. I didn't go to school to learn how to write. What I did was I got other people's books and just looked in their books and looked at their writing styles and studied them and used that as a guide to, you know, to writing.
Somehow I gotta make it, mind focus on dreams. One thing on my mind to keep it moving.
And what we're trying to do here at Birth Publishing is really combine serious and traditional forms of writing with the urban fiction. You know what I'm saying? Not just everyday drug tales, but something that people can really relate to. People who are not even in the streets. People who might, you know, come from suburban or rich or maybe even Caucasian individuals who have never seen the streets will be able to relate to what's happening underneath the story.
Hard Change is something new. It's something fresh, but we want to know what's the drive behind that.
See, the thing is, a lot of times people just read a story for entertainment, but you know, reading is reading and knowledge is knowledge. You can learn something from anything. So even if you don't mean to, you can soak up some type of understanding from the book. A lot of my books didn't end upward. You know, there wasn't an up ending. There was a down ending to really give people the real side of life and to let you know the consequences of the choices. I wasn't writing to glorify the streets, but really to convey the realness of the streets. The way I started, really, I lived vicariously through the characters in the books. There was stuff that I had in me that I wanted to get out of me at the time, you know, because when I came home, you know, I wanted to live a different life, and so I got it out of me through writing. I put it in there. I lived in the streets in my work, but people can gain something from that. I like to transform people or to take them and place them in another world. That's what in the books or movies or any type of storytelling is supposed to do. It's supposed to take you from one place to the next and let you experience somebody else's life without actually having to take the risk of doing it yourself.
Being that you are a partner and creator of Birth Publishing's How was that conceived? How does that play into you also being an author, and you know, assigned under your own label? Is, I mean, you know, because that's kind of like unusual for, you know, would you say the average writer? I mean, you see that prevalent in most of the music industries and things of that nature, but that's rare that you see that in this genre, you know what I'm saying, of entertainment, which is, you know what I'm saying, fiction.
Well, I think it gives me more freedom as a writer because there's no third party to go to that can tell me what I can write about and what I can't write about. You know, what I write can change the whole direction of the brand itself, the company itself. You know, the whole Hard Change series sets the tone for the brand. That's the first book that we're starting with, and so that's like giving people an idea of the direction that we'll be going in. But somewhat it would kind of make it difficult to write because now we're mixing the creativity with the business and trying to juggle both of them at the same time, you know. So because like I had to dedicate time to the growth and expansion of the business, but also to coming up with new material, because I don't want to just rely on other writers that will be signed subsequently, because I do have a love for the art and I want to continue to write myself. So it makes it more challenging, but that's one of the things that I like about writing is the challenge itself, the challenge of putting a story together, because it's not as easy as people might think it would be.
What direction is Birth Publications going in? What, I mean, because, you know, you have like your urban fiction line and your other labels with VA Connection and just different publications, you know, that were coming out with urban fictions. What is going to set your publishing company apart from that? Where you guys going with that?
Well, it's about three things, you know. One, we're bringing more of an experience to the whole to the literature, you know what I'm saying? Usually people just read and that's it, but we're connecting people with the authors, and we'll be giving them a chance to really have more of a hand in what's taking place in the company itself. You know, there'll be more interaction later on if they check the website, you know what I'm saying, when we begin our expansion. But also, what we want to do is to eventually evolve and give people another side of black experience, or just life experiences, period. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a lot of black stories are in a box, you know, they're in a box. And so we're trying to go outside that. But we'll be taking submissions from all types of authors. You know, there are a lot of people who, they have good work, whether they be white, Latino, black, but they just can't get their work published. You know, it's hard to get your work published without the help of an agent, and a lot of them are so busy that they don't have time to read the submission. You know, that stuff goes straight in the garbage, you know what I'm saying? So they'll be able to send their work to us and cut out that middleman, because we'll be taking this serious, and we'll have like a subdivision where we really will be spotlighting new talent, people who may become the next bestsellers later on. We'll be giving them that opportunity and that chance to make that happen. Writing the work is the hard part. Getting it together, you know, outlining and brainstorming and then writing and editing, that's the hard part. It shouldn't be hard to get your work out there after you've taken all the time to create that, if your work is good. And if your work is good, we'll be planning on rewarding these individuals by, you know, submitting your work here to Birth Publishing.
Yeah, I'm past racist, homie. I got 3 Ks that'll burn your ass up like a California heat wave. These days so crazy, so I'm puffing my haze. More bloods in my set than VA had slaves. I'm out.